Good morning. Globally, security tensions in the Indo-Pacific are sharpening. Japan says it plans to deploy surface-to-air missile systems on its remote western island of Yonaguni, near Taiwan, by March 2031. The move underscores Tokyo's longer-term shift towards stronger deterrence, as pressure builds around Taiwan and regional military postures harden. In the Middle East, the United States is escalating pressure on Iran with new sanctions targeting oil vessels. As the Trump administration continues its maximum pressure approach, Iran, for its part, is warning of escalation if the U.S. attacks, signaling a high-risk phase in an already volatile standoff. In Washington, President Trump's State of the Union address offered little indication of a change in course, with messaging aimed squarely at his political base and a divided domestic audience. Beyond state conflict, insecurity is also being driven by organized crime. In Mexico, the threat of further violence remains after a cartel rampage, with residents in Guadalajara describing heightened fear and uncertainty. On the global economy and the broader technological revolution, markets are still digesting how geopolitics, sanctions, and defense spending trajectories could reshape trade routes, energy flows, and investment priorities. At the same time, artificial intelligence remains a central force in productivity and disruption. But today's major developments are more political and security-driven than product-led. Turning to Australia, housing affordability is deteriorating further and spreading beyond the traditional hotspots. New domain research reported by the ABC finds first home buyer affordability is no longer just a Sydney problem, with repayments on an entry-level house now averaging almost half a couple's combined income. In Perth, the Sydney Morning Herald reports entry-level property prices have doubled over 5 years, with first-home buyers now facing around $780,000 compared with $379,000 in 2020. The combined picture points to sustained pressure on household budgets and a growing policy challenge for governments balancing supply, planning, and cost of living settings. On Australian government policy and politics, the debate over the return of Is-linked Australians is intensifying. SBS reports the federal government wants to block the return of 34 Is-linked women and children from Syria and outlines the legal constraints around citizenship and return. The Guardian has also published a podcast featuring Australian children in the Al Raj camp, adding human detail to an issue that is rapidly becoming a sharper political and legal contest. In the Australian public service and governance space, the Northern Territory's incoming administrator, David Connolly, has apologized for hurt caused by social media posts, just a day before being sworn in as the King's representative. Separately, scrutiny of integrity settings continues, with the Conversation reporting calls from anti-corruption expert Geoffrey Watson for a royal commission into the CFMU scandal. On technology policy, the Sydney Morning Herald reports the eSafety watchdog will track indicators including Ritalin use, sleep quality, and NAPLAN outcomes in a long-term study to evaluate whether the Albanese government's social media ban is working, signaling a more data-driven approach to assessing a major national reform. Finally, locally in Sydney, a fatal unit fire at St Mary's has left a man dead and a woman hospitalized in serious but stable condition, according to the ABC. Authorities are expected to continue investigations into the cause.